Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. And yes, of course, continuing reviewing the Marvel films, and now reviewing the next X-Men film in the X-Men film franchise. And that being the Wolverine. Yes, the Wolverine. And, this seemed to do a lot better than the first Wolverine film. Because, a quick recap, because, after X-Men The Last Stand, Fox, they wanted to do something else with the X-Men, and, they wanted to do, this time, a new series of X-Men films, which being X-Men Origins, and the first one being, X-Men Origins Wolverine, which unfortunately, and what should have been the easiest, Marvel film adaptation to make of Wolverine, and it failed for literally, it just failed for no reason. It should have worked. It should have been easy to make, but it just turned out to be a disappointment. And because that X-Men Origins just failed, and because the first film, it killed it on the first try, it didn't take too long for Marvel and Fox to do something else with the X-Men. This time, it's not technically an origin story, but, basically, it's how the X-Men began, the first class, and which that did really good. And then 2 years later, we would get another film of Wolverines, which being the Wolverine, which, again, as I said, it seemed to do a lot better than the first Wolverine film, definitely. It wasn't like, say, an amazing Wolverine film, if I'm correct. It was fine for what it is. And people seem to have enjoyed this. I don't know, they might, it could be confusing at times, stuff like that, but still, it was a pretty good Wolverine film. And what would come next, for the character of Wolverine, definitely. And also, that this is directed by James Mangold. Before this, well, he was best known for directing the Johnny Cash biopic, Walk the Line. And what he would direct next? Oh yeah, we all know that. Alright, but anyways, so the story. Yeah. Lured to Japan, he hasn't seen since World War II, century-old mutant Wolverine, once again played by the one and only Hugh Jackman, finds himself in a shadowy realm of Yakuza and samurai. I hope I said that right, Yakuza. Maybe. Correct me if I am wrong. Wolverine is pushed to the physical and emotional brink, hopefully I got that right, when he is forced to go on the run with a powerful hold on a second, Interlastis daughter. I tried, yeah. Played by, the daughter, played by Teo Okamoto. I think I got that right. Again, I'm sorry that I have trouble pronouncing words and last names, and is confronted for the first time with the prospect of death. As he struggles to rediscover the hero within himself, he must grapple with powerful foes and the ghosts of his own haunted past. Yeah, and because it says that, ghosts of his own haunted past, well, there's only, really one that, she appears throughout the film, and that being the return of Jean Grey. Yep, because, Jean Grey, once again played by, where is she? Yeah, once again played by Famke Jensen, if I said her last name right. She comes back as Jean, and, at times, and throughout the film, at times she would, appear in Logan's, visions, like, whether if he's dreaming or daydreaming, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, like, even, like, say, Jean, like, telling him to come with her, to heaven, basically. And, yeah, and because, and here's another thing. James Mangold, he originally, the film was considered to be a prequel to the first X-Men film. That is, of course, X-Men from 2000. But James Mangold decided that, for it to be a sequel, a direct sequel after Last Stand, and yeah, good thing too. And a funny thing is, because, like, I don't know, I think the Wolverine was this close to getting an R rating, but of course it did get a PG-13 rating, and even James Mangold stated that the Wolverine is no Bambi. Yeah, way to put it. Yeah, it's true. So why would it be like Bambi? But and speaking of which, speaking of a movie of Wolverines getting an R rating, we all know that the next film starring with the character Wolverine, we all know, because that would get an R rating. So yeah. Anyways, so yeah, because Wolverine, he saved this one Japanese soldier from the explosions, because again, during World War II, and let me tell you, because when they get inside that hiding place and, like, Wolverine is protecting him, who was that again who played him? I forget. Might have been this guy. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, this soldier, like, he protects him from, like, the explosions, and, like, it gets to Wolverine, and oh my gosh, when we see how burned he is, like, gosh, like, still, this film gets a PG-13 rating. Hey, it's just like, say, how in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, he got burned to a crisp, and that still got a PG-13 rating. I mean, that's the thing, like, how can they do a PG-13 burn? Yeah, because, like, in the behind-the-scenes of Revenge of the Sith, they did ask that question, and I'm sure the same thing goes for the people of the Wolverine. Like, they tried their very best to do a PG-13 burn, so yeah, because if they didn't, then if they really went that far for a burn and such, probably would have gotten an R rating. So, anyways, and so, oh gosh, what is his name? I forget. But, many years later, because, we see Logan, because, he's grown a beard, but then he, of course, is confronted by, Yukio, played by Rilla, Fukushima, if I'm saying that right. I don't know. And she basically recruits him, and of course brings him to Japan for him to meet and for one last time, say goodbye to him. And another thing is, because, he wants something from Logan. And Yashida, yeah. Young Yashida was played by Ken Yamayura, if I'm saying that right. And, older Yashida, played by Hal Yamanachui, sometimes, like, again, last words, and especially if it's somebody from Japanese, like, bear with me. And here's another thing, too. Speaking of Japan, like, it's pretty amazing. Like, that's kind of nice, and for a little change of pace. Like, okay, usually, because with Marvel films, like, they would take place in the big city, especially in the MCU, because sometimes in the Marvel films, and set in the MCU, they would sometimes usually take place in New York City, or, well, there was San Francisco, there was London, but it's kind of nice, that there is a Marvel film where it takes place entirely in Japan. That's pretty cool. And yeah, and good for Wolverine himself, to have a movie of his be in Japan. There was some really cool stuff in this film, like it had some good action to it, especially a really cool and intense action sequence that takes place outside, I should say, of the bullet train. Like, Wolverine just fighting the bad guys on top of the bullet train. As we all know, bullet trains are just going by, they just go fast, and it just, I guarantee you, because yeah, this got audiences just up on their seats, just oh god. Of course some of the bad guys do get hit by the signs, and I think one of them did get electrocuted, I'm pretty sure, but yeah. And basically, yeah, Logan is protecting Yashida's granddaughter, Marikyo, if I'm saying that right. Maybe, I don't know. Protecting her from the bad guys and so on, especially her father being Shangjin, if I'm saying that right. I don't know. Again, because, and played by Hiroki Sanada. I think that sounds about right. And basically, her father, because pardon my French, it's true, he's an asshole, because at one point you see him slapping his own daughter, and even, he was, this close to killing his own daughter. What kind of father is he? Well, God, jeez. And I think, yeah, he does have a hatred for mutants, for one thing. Then there was also this doctor who was Yashida's doctor, Viper, played by Svetlana Konjakov, however you pronounce her last name. But Viper, I don't really know that much about Viper, but I can tell because Viper is this mutant where I guess she is poisonous and spits acid or something, and people's faces just oh my gosh, it's very cruel, And then there's also Harada, played by Will Young Lee, who I remember he would go on to be in the ABC show, The Good Doctor. So, yeah. And I totally forgotten that, that from The Good Doctor, he was in this. So, and he plays this one character, who, yeah, he does, he's kind of on Viper's side, but I don't think he really wants to be. And he basically has, the capability of doing bow and arrows. That's his skill. Even say there's one part in this film where Logan, he seems to have trouble healing, and that's because something happened to him. There's this cybernetic bug that's messing with his heart. And that's when a little bit earlier, Yukio kind of had a dream where Logan died, and it's her dream is starting to come true when that happens. He's basically Logan doing surgery on his own, getting that out of his heart, and he is this close to dying, even say when, Xing Jane, attacks his other daughter, basically, because, yeah, Yukio and Marikyo, they're sisters, and, and of course, Logan does defeat him, even when, he stabs him, and Shang-Chi stabs Logan. Of course, Logan's all better now, and he can heal again, and, the big climax, where, he saves Marikyo and, taking on, at one point, taking on Harada and all the other, bow and arrow soldiers, I guess you could say, the ninjas. and even say, Logan, saying an F-bomb, go F yourself, like, what do you say? Would you say pretty boy or prince? I don't know, but, again, I've said this before, like, and when I reviewed X-Men First Class, yeah, one F-bomb can be in a PG-13 rated film. So if there was more than one, then yes, it would smackdown get an R rating. Of course, at one point, Logan is defeated because of so many bow and arrows that go in his back, and he can't take it anymore. And of course, like this Iron Man kind of like machine that was made, and because basically before his death, Yoshida wanted some of Logan's mutation, of healing and so on. He wanted what Logan have, but of course Logan wouldn't give it to him, and thus, at one point they were going to like chop off his steel claws, and which at one point during a fight between Logan and the armored like robot, that robot does so, chopping off his steeled claws, and really that's gotta hurt, and even say when Logan, like, when one of his like steeled claws was chopped, he used a samurai sword, and he's got to use both hands because it will turn into like lava or something, like very hot steel, and chopping off the head of that armored robot, of course. Viper taking on Yukio, and Marikyo kind of, she fought against Harada at one point, and Harada, he redeems himself by trying to help Logan defeat that machine. Of course, he does get killed, unfortunate. After he just redeemed himself, jeez. And Viper, because God, kind of like creepy, because like she's like molding, like shedding off her skin and so on, and her hairpiece, like, yeah. I guarantee you, because that's something that my mom would definitely be grossed out of. It's true. I've seen her, just, just thinking about that. That's funny. And of course, like, well, after chopping off the robot's head, like, the machine, however you want to call it, it's not finished yet, and it chops off, like, Logan's second steel claws, and we find out, inside that machine, Yoshida, he's still alive because of that robot, the machine that he's in, the armored machine, and basically, yeah, getting some of Logan's mutation, ejecting it, and so on, and he starts to become younger, and he was never a good person, definitely. Even say his granddaughter saying to him, and it's true, that he's a monster, and of course, he does get defeated in the end, and all ends well, of course. And now, for Logan, he now has the bone claws. I would like to... I can't remember. I probably did. I did state this in my review of X-Men Origins Wolverine. And, whether if I did or did not, can't remember. I'll say it again. I was never... Just bear with me. I'm not saying I hate them. I was never a fan of the bone claws. I much preferred the steel claws, because they suited Logan / Wolverine. No hard feelings on the bone claws. I understand, the bone, that's what started it for Logan, the bone claws. But of course, what happened to Logan in X-Men Origins, and like, as it was mentioned in the first X-Men film and in X2, Wolverine / Logan got an upgrade and got the steel claws. So, yeah. But for now, at the end of this film, and in the next X-Men film, we would see him with the bone claws. So, and the epilogue, because now, Mariko, she now is the leader of her grandfather's business, and Yukio, she, of course, continues being with Logan because she's she's his bodyguard. Does Logan really need a bodyguard? Because this is Logan/Wolverine we're talking about. And by the way, on the plane, as like they were taking off in a plane, because I forgot that this was cut from the final film, but you know, it is a deleted scene. Yukio shows Logan a briefcase of the yellow suit that Wolverine wears in the comics. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, even like, say, I remember Logan mentioning in the first X-Men film, you know, mentioning something of yellow spandex. He said that to Scott. So, and the mid-credits scene. There's only one end credit scene during the credits, and this was a really cool mid-credit scene because, yeah, it takes place 2 years later, and oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, because there was a relationship that built between Mariko and Logan. But anyways, with the mid-credit scene, that, like, again, two years later is when it takes place, and, well, at one point, Logan is visited by two familiar faces. Magneto, once again played by Sir Ian McKellen, and Charles Xavier, once again played by Sir Patrick Stewart. Basically, they're telling them that there's something that's about to happen that could wipe their kind, and that being teased, and for it being a setup to the next X-Men film. Yeah, what a setup, for sure. It was a really awesome end credit scene. Just the three of them in one scene together, that was amazing. Just, oh, that was great. But yeah, the Wolverine was definitely, and I gotta say, again, I think it was pretty good. And again, it seemed to do a lot better than the first Wolverine film, that's for sure. And, you know, after this, what would come next for the character of Logan/Wolverine in his next movie, as we all know, and until I review that. And how do I rate the Wolverine? That's a good question. Well, yeah, because I'm thinking, why not? I'll, hold on, yeah. 8 out of 10 stars. 8 out of 10 stars for the Wolverine. And what about you guys? What do you think of the Wolverine, and what did you think of my review? Leave comments, and give this review a like as always. So, with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the Wolverine. More reviews coming your way. They're gonna be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And stay tuned because, well, you know, reviewing, you know, another Marvel film in the MCU, and, well, this time it's the debut of Captain Marvel. Stay tuned for that. Take care, and until X-Men Days of Future Past, peace out, and X-Men assemble! Arrgh.